On today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, a super fun, exciting topic for you: crisis management, turnaround management. Okay, I'm just joking. It's not fun, right? It's kind of sucks to do it, scary, etc. Had a friend of mine reach out to me recently. He said, "Hey, Steve, we're about to go through a turnaround here at the company. Can you give me some quick, pieces of advice, etc." So I spent some time with him, gave him 4 things that popped into my head pretty quickly. I want to share those with you. There are a lot more than 4, right? I mean, there's thousands of companies out there that specialize in turnaround management. There's books, essays, articles. I mean, holy cow, you can pull up all kinds of information on it, right? But because I led a company through a turnaround in 08 and 09, and I've actually done several crisis management projects, this friend of mine, he knew I had some experience at it. So he just called and got some quick advice. I want to share with you what I told him. These 4 things are the first set of ideas I gave him. Like I said, a lot more than this. I'm not even sure these are the top 4, quite frankly, but wanted to give these to you. Just in case you happen to be faced with a situation where you're in a company on the leadership team, or maybe you're even the owner or the manager, and it's crisis management time due to the COVID situation affecting your revenue, etc. So number 1, first thing I told him was this: cash flow management. I recommend that you have your accountant or your CFO or whoever watches the money, right? Pays the bills, etc., produces the budget. Have that person bring you a 6 to 8 week cash flow forecast, which means they have to project sales, plug in routine expenses, etc. Have them bring you that cash flow. Then take 10% off the top line revenue number and push it back to them, and make them manage the expenses to that new revenue number that you just reduced. That's tip number 1. Why do I say that? Because when you're in a crisis management situation and you're asking your sales leaders to give you a new projected number, quite often they're not going to keep it real. Right? They're not going to say, "Hey boss, it's really going to suck and we should probably plan on super tough times." So whatever number you get back, when you get that cash flow back, just wipe 10% off the top line, or maybe even more than 10%, and then reduce your expenses to that new revenue projection. Number 2, expense review by line item. Have every business leader or segment leader or branch manager, whatever terminology you use, have them all bring you their expenses by line item, and have them suggest to you what can be cut out altogether or what can be reduced. Now, when I say by line item, I mean by line item. That means not just office supplies, but paper towels, coffee, napkins, dish soap, whatever. I mean, have them break it down super specific. Have them bring that to you. Again, have them show you what can be cut out altogether and what can be reduced and how they're going to do that. Now, in addition, incentivize them ahead of time. Tell them, just say, "Hey, look, Sally, bring me your expenses by line item. Show me how much you're going to save. And I tell you what I'll do. If you actually save it, if you actually execute that, I'll give you 10% of it back as a bonus." Yeah, you heard me right. Incentivize the business leaders to cut expenses and then give them something back if they actually execute it. Example, if Sally cuts $10,000 out of her budget, I'm happy to give her $2,000 back and save the $8,000 and so forth. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3, overhead reduction. Some specifics here. Most of you going through crisis management or turnaround management are going to have to lay some people off. Most of the time, that's part of it, right? When you're deciding who to keep and who to lay off, I really encourage you to keep potential over specialists. What do I mean by that? Let's say Mary and Fred are in the same department, and Fred's skill set for that particular task are slightly stronger than Mary's, but Fred's capped out, and I know Fred can never move up or take on more responsibility or do anything different in case I need Fred to wear a different hat, but Mary can. I probably keep Mary and let Fred go. Always keep potential, because when you have to reduce staff, people are going to have to do things outside their comfort level or beyond their job description, right? They're going to have to wear more hats, do different things. You need people that are flexible, that have potential, that can scale out and do more things, etc. So potential over specialist when it comes to looking down the list of people and checking names off the list that are going to be laid off. Next, and by the way, one more thing on that. Potential people also have room to move up in title, etc. Right? So it's always good to keep people with potential in these situations. You might have some short-term pain because Fred knew how to do the job better right away. So for the first 2 weeks, Mary screws up that particular tactical item. But later on, Mary ends up being a VP for you. Better you kept her. Final piece of advice for this episode, and again, I mean, this could be like a 4-hour conversation, right? I mean, there's novels and novels and novels written about this stuff. But fourth piece of advice I gave was this. If you're in a business where the original founders are involved or family members involved, and they've been in charge since the beginning, and now they're about to go through their first ever crisis management or turnaround situation, here's my advice. Remove them. Remove as in ask them to stay out of the building, stay out of the way, go, on vacation, go somewhere. But when you start to get out the knife and slash expenses and let people go they really like and make drastic changes that are going to be a blow to their ego, they really just need to be gone. They can't be around because they're just going to make it difficult for you. You're going to want to let go of Johnny, and they're going to come to you and go, wait, but Johnny's been with me from the beginning. I really love Johnny. No. You're going to want to change distribution, right? And they're going to say, yeah, but we have such a great relationship with the other distribution partner and I don't want to mess up. No. So get the founders and the original family members out of the way. You'll give yourself a much better chance to actually make really tough, hard decisions and make them fast. Okay. I could keep going on this topic, right? Happy to provide more tips, but those are the first 4 things I gave my friend when he called and said, hey, give me some advice on crisis management and turnarounds. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.